Hi, welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a 3-hook flapper and explain a 2-hook flapper as well. They're pretty much the same rig. Obviously one's got 3 hook snoods whereas the other one's got 2, but it's the same principle on making this rig. Now this rig is a short to medium range rig. You don't want to be whacking worm baits out as hard as you can, because with a flapper rig you're only going to destroy your bait on the cast. If you want to cast long distance, you want to be building a 2-hook clipped rig or a 3-hook clipped rig. Then the baits are clipped down, streamlined, you get further distance, and it also protects the bait on the cast and doesn't destroy them before it hits the water. So here's the rig in front of me that we're going to make. I fish with quite long rods. I fish with sort of 14 to 15.5 foot rods. So I can have quite long rigs. This one's probably 1.5 meters. I've got three flappers on there, 3 hook snoods, all in fluoro, and the link will be in the video as to why I use fluoro. And let's get to it. This is how I make this rig to scratch around for smaller species. Right, so here are the components you're going to need to build the 3-hook flapper version, and I will show you what you don't need if you're going to do it in 2-hook flapper form. So let's start here in front of us. Hooks. You're going to need a hook of your choice. Here I've got size 2s. They're Aberdeen hooks because I'll be fishing with small bits of worm with this rig. If you're going to fish with small bits of crab or shellfish, you might want like a crab hook or a chinu, small chinus. All depends on the bait, so you want to match the hook for your bait for this rig. But this is only a scratching rig, so you won't be going too big. So there's your hooks. You're going to need 4 swivels, crane swivels. 3 of them are for the hook. 1 of them is for your top of your rig. So if you're only doing a 2-hook flapper, 2 hooks, 2 swivels. Got a lead link, the bottom of your rig, just to clip a lead on. And then we've got 6 beads. Now these 6 beads are to go either side of the swivels that will attach to the hook snoods. So if you're only doing a 2-hook flapper, you only need 4 beads. Then got 3 sequins. These are basically going to be worm stops. And then we've got float stops there that go above the sequins on each hook snood, just to stop the worm going up the line. And then here we go, we've got the lines for the rig. I am using fluorocarbon now, and I'm using fluorocarbon because it is superior and it doesn't have as much memory as mono. So if it kinks, I can pull it all out. And the reason for this is this video, just up there. Click that link, takes you over to my very good friend's page. Gone Fishing with a Bearded Armenian. He explains fluoros. He's got his own shop, so all of this stuff is available through his shop, and this Cinetic fluorocarbon is really good. So for the rig body I'm using 60-pound mimetic, and for the hook snoods I'm using 9.6 kilo mimetic, and that's 0.31, so any fish that I'm scratching for in the UK shouldn't really go through that. There we are, and then all you're going to need as well to do this, pair of scissors. So anyway, let's get started. Right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is cut yourself some rig body, a length of rig body, and I want this rig to be just over 1 meter long. I don't go into measuring each individual hook snoods, especially when I'm doing them singularly. If I'm doing a bulk load, I use my rig jig that I built, the link's up there, and then I can use the measurements on that to get all the rigs built exactly the same. But for this, a one-off, I just cut a length, which I've done here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is get the lead link. I'm going to tie that on there with the uni knot. So I'm going to go around there, through the loop, 4 times. The thicker the line, the less times you need to wrap it round. So this is 60-pound, 0.70, and I'm going around 4 times with that. There we are. Let's cut the tag end off. Lead link done. Now you may be thinking as well, 0.70, that's quite thick. 0.70mm, quite thick for £60, but it's because it's fluorocarbon, so it's always going to be a little bit thicker than mono. Now, what I'm going to do is work out the length of the hook snood that I want, and basically I'm going to want, I don't know, about a 10-inch hook snood on this. So I am leaving a gap of about 11, 12, and there, where I've pinched my finger, I'm going to tie a figure of 8 knot. Like so. Pull that tight. The next thing to do is to thread one bead, a swivel, go through the eye of a swivel, second bead, push it all down to that figure of 8 knot, like so, and then tie another figure of 8 knot, just the other side, and what you really want to do is you just have to sort of manipulate this down. You're never going to get it really tight, but to the bead, but a tiny bit of place fine, like so. And we're going to pull that tight. There we go. Right, that's the first swivel for the first hook snood in place. Lead clip to that. Now I'm going to leave roughly the same gap again. I'm not measuring it, but I've got my finger there. Again, we do the same here. Figure of 8 knot. Pull it tight, like so. And then we go bead, swivel, bead, and a figure of 8 knot the other side. There we are, like so. Lead link first, second, and then we're going to leave the same amount of gap, or if you want a short one at the top, do the short one. Same amount of gap I'm going to do, roughly. And tie a figure of 8 knot again, and do the same as you've done first two. There we go, that one in place. Now what I like to do is between the top hook snood swivel and the actual swivel on the rig, I'm going to leave a big gap so there's less chance of that snood flicking up and getting caught in this. So it's further away basically from that hook snood. Sometimes if it's right above it, it will get caught in this, and one of your hook snoods is going to be tangled up in your rig, in your line, and you're not going to catch a fish on it. Right, there we have the rig body in front of us. That's all tied and ready to go. All we need to do now is cut our hook snood, hook length material, 3 the same lengths, or 3 different lengths if you wanted to do it different, which I've already done. I've got 3 lengths of this already cut. And what we're going to do, tie these, one end of these to each end of the swivel with a uni knot. So let's get 3 of those tied now. Right, now once these are all tied on, like so, there we go. Next thing to do is to get your float stop, or if you want to, you can use power gum and tie some stop knots, but these are easy. You just put the line through the loop that's on these. There's a little loop which tends to get smaller as you do it. We get the line through there, you fold it over, you just slide one of them off onto your line. Now you want to do one of them on each, or as I said, just tie a slide and stop knot. Now they're all on, next thing to do is to slide on your sequin. And these sequins are basically just to stop your worm against that stopper. They stop the worm flying up the line, which it can happen. So that, you can push that down to your worm, and it's tight enough to stop it moving on a cast. So get your 3 sequins on. Doesn't matter, you can colour coordinate them, you can have them different sizes, it really doesn't matter. You can have none at all if you don't want. These are just an optional extra if you're going to be fishing with worms. Then the next thing to do is to start at the bottom of the rig from here. Right, we hold the clip in place along with the clip there and the bottom snood together, and then basically what you want to do is work out where the hook is. You don't want the hook to be the same length as that clip because it's going to get caught up in it. So basically you want to tie the hook roughly around there. So it's about 2 inches back. So what I'm going to do is thread this hook on like so, down to where I'm holding it, and just tie it on there. Again with a uni knot. Trim off the tag. Like so. Now once that's tied, you can pull them both together just to check. But as you can see, tie it there, and the hook does not interfere with that clip, so you're not going to get hooked up when you're out. It's not going to get caught on that when you're tight on your lead, and that'll give you a free hanging bait. So what I'm going to do is work that all out again for the next two. Very simple. Tie the hooks and then the rig will be done. Right, and there we have it all tied. The last two hooks have been put on, and as you can see, I'll put a gripper lead on it just to show you. So we've got the first hook snood there at that swivel. This hook will not reach that to get tangled up. So that is freely moving there, and you move that stop down. You've got a worm or something. You can put even a bit more attractors on there if you want, or you can have nothing, like I said. Then we move along from that hook snood to that one. And again, this one does not interfere with the first swivel there. So again, no snagging on that. Then we move on to the third one there. And as you can see, this one doesn't interfere with the second. It also won't get caught on the top swivel either. So none of these snoods are going to get caught on each other. They're not going to get caught up on the rig. And as mentioned earlier, this rig is a short to medium range rig. You don't want to be whacking baits out with this because you'll end up obliterating them on the cast, because it does just flap around unless you really bait elastic them on. So if you want to do long range, you basically want to do a 2-hook clipped rig or a 3-hook clipped rig. The link is up there to the 2-hook version. Obviously the 3-hook version is very similar, just with an extra hook snood. So I hope this has helped, and I hope this rig may help you catch many more fish in the future. Until next time, tight lines.